Hey guys, hope you're doing really well. So yesterday I posted this question on my LinkedIn. I said, just to remind you if you didn't see it, it's got a question about growth marketing or business. Tomorrow I'll be answering all of your questions on an Ask Me Anything video to give as much help and advice possible to businesses during these times. So add your questions below and then I'll answer them. So what I've done is I've collected all of the questions I had up to last night, and I've added them to this presentation. I've gone through, made some notes, and I'm going to answer them to you right now. And the goal is to help you guys with the questions you have regarding growth and marketing, etc. So, let's begin, right? So this is the first question I had. Well, it wasn't the first question, but it was one that got the most likes, right? Because here I've prioritized the different questions by likes. And this was from Gordon, and he said, how can startups justify investing in SEO when it can take months to see results? Why not just spend money on paid ads, right? So there's many things involved here. First, why not just spend money on paid ads? Well, paid ads are super expensive, and they're getting more and more expensive like every single month. So the big question, there's many questions you have to answer when looking at this question, right? The first one is, are you bootstrapping or are you VC backed? Do you actually have money to invest in paid ads? Like, I know a lot of startups and they're not doing any paid ads. I have a startup as well. I'm not doing any paid ads because it's literally too expensive. And also there's like a cash flow thing here where you invest money in paid ads, but you don't recuperate your investment for several months. So if you don't have the money and the cash flow, it's not even possible to invest in paid ads in the first place, So there's a big consideration to be made here. And also there's different lifetime value constraints with paid ads as well, because you have to spend a maximum amount of money to acquire one customer. And in the world of SaaS, you're on the 3-to-1 ratio where you can spend 1/3 of your lifetime value to get one customer, usually within a 12 or 9 month period. And another thing to take into account when investing in SEO is demand creation and demand capture. Are people actually looking for your solution? Is it even possible to even capture that demand? And how competitive is it? There's some industries where you have to get hundreds of domains, hundreds of links to your pages you want to rank to even get traffic to your website. They're highly saturated. So sometimes the only way is actually spend money on paid ads to actually get in front of your audience, especially when you're creating demand. When no one's looking for the solution that you're offering, like you can create content to rank in SEO to kind of capture your target audience. However, most of the time, you actually rely on other tactics like outbound, on paid ads, for example, where you push things to your audience because you're not able to pull them to you, which is generally done through search, right? Another thing to take into account is actually channel layering. So when you justify SEO, I always think that for startups, it's actually best to invest in one channel first. Like, what is your number one channel, which you're all going to invest in because you will have limited resources, right? That one channel that you're going to invest in to make it super successful and go really deep on that channel. And a couple of examples here are Canva and Slack. So Canva, in the beginning, they literally just invested in SEO, right? They have like a team of 20 people doing SEO. Only when did they grow through SEO did they then layer on top PPC, and then they layered on top a whole enterprise plan. And Slack did something similar. They started with virality. They grew through their viral loop. Then they did PPC, and then they went enterprise after going self-serve. So what I'm trying to say here is, what is that one channel that you're going to focus on in the beginning as a business? Make it super successful because you have limited resource, you have limited time, limited designers, limited developers. So if you only choose one channel and go really deep on that one channel, and then layer on another channel afterwards to create that next inflection in growth where you're working. And another thing to justify SEO is really to set expectations early. So we know SEO takes ages. Like, you're not going to see any results if you start for like 6 months. It really depends on your industry, but usually it's many months. So you have to really set expectations. But what I'm trying to say here is that SEO is a long-term game. You have to really set expectations in the beginning about SEO. In terms of paid ads, you can't always invest in paid ads because your lifetime value is too low to even invest in the channel in the first place. You won't even have the money to even manage the cash flow of recuperating your investment in the future. So lots of non-VC backed startups are actually investing in SEO because it's cheaper, as paid ads become a lot more expensive as the big guys are there investing in paid ads. So that's the answer to that question. The second one I got was from Kirsty, and she said, what's your biggest win and your biggest mistake in marketing, right? So my biggest win that I would say personally, if I can move slides because Loom is blocking me. My biggest win is, and an achievement that I'm most proud of is building the growth marketing team at my time at Typeform. So for those of you who don't know, I spent almost 4 years at Typeform building the growth marketing team. I came in there, we had no SEO, no money on paid ads. We weren't doing conversion optimization anywhere on the website. And I basically built a team of just myself and 10 other people. And then we managed to scale product signups at Typeform from 0 to more than 30,000 per month. And if I remember rightly, it was more or less a 50-50 split between SEO and paid ads. So we managed to really scale this up. But at Typeform, there's a lot of people looking for different use cases, right? Whether it's like a registration form, surveys, quizzes, etc. So we were really able to exploit these channels. It was paid search and SEO. Like we had a big push on search, and it was really successful for us. And in terms of my biggest mistake in marketing, what I would say, it's not learning enough. So it's not networking enough and not reading enough books, basically. What I've learned in marketing, the majority of what I've learned has literally been speaking to different people, networking, going on calls, messaging people on LinkedIn, which is why I recommend just buy a LinkedIn premium subscription for a couple of months and just speak to people. You say, share tactics with them, go on a call with them. Like right now I'm building an agency, I'm networking with agency owners because I want to learn from them. I don't want to reinvent the wheel. Like just go and speak to people. It's really the best way to learn. And there's also this really cool platform called growthmentor.com where you can just pay $50 per month and you can go and speak to top growth people for free, apart from the $50 on this platform. And you can book like 30 minutes with them, 1 hour with them, and you can learn a ton from them. Whether it's paid ads, SEO, CRO, ABM, whatever it may be, there's people on there that are willing to help you and to help you learn. So a big mistake is really not networking enough. Like, should really be networking like every single month with different people, speaking to them. And then the trick is that when you network with someone, ask them, who else should I speak to? And get an introduction from that person to even more people. And there your network continues. So that is the trick. So that's my biggest win and my biggest mistake in marketing. It's not like a direct marketing tactic, but it's definitely something I wish I'd done before to actually help me be more successful in marketing, if that makes sense with you. Next question was, what is the simplest way to get started with website A/B testing? And this is kind of a big question because A/B testing involves lots of different things. So the first thing I recommend for you guys is really to read this book if you haven't done so already. It's like a marketing classic, right? It's called Influence, the Psychology of Persuasion. And it looks through the top 6 persuasion tactics out there that you can apply to all of your marketing. This isn't just A/B testing, it's through copy, landing page design, paid advertising, everything, right? It looks at the commitment principle, liking, authority, like why do we put testimonials on our landing page? These types of things. And one of the biggest things you have to basically work out when you get into this is, does your website even have enough traffic to begin with? Because to get to a statistical result, which is where you have a high level of confidence that the uplift is actually because of your change, then you need a lot of traffic on your website. How much traffic? It depends on how impactful your A/B test is on improving the conversion rates, right? But for example, if you don't have 20k traffic on a page, like on your homepage, it's going to be quite difficult. Like if you don't get 20,000 clicks from your paid ads, again, it's going to be quite difficult. So how do you improve your conversion rates if you don't have enough traffic? That's a good question. The way you do that is you don't run A/B tests, you implement best practices that will lead to a higher conversion rate, right? You don't have to keep doing A/B tests. If it's already proven out there in the market, don't do an A/B test, just implement it straight away and get that result. One big myth in A/B testing is a lot of people say you need to change one thing at a time. You need to change the one button, one H1, one this, one that. The truth is that actually you have to test one hypothesis at a time, not one change at a time, if that makes sense. So one hypothesis could be, by making the landing page more product focused, we will increase the conversion rate by 20% because people now understand what the product is. And this hypothesis can include many different changes. One thing could be adding more product-related images, product-related copy. Like you can change many of different things on the landing page, but the most important thing is to do one hypothesis at a time. And that really is the key to doing successful A/B testing, is to test one hypothesis at a time. And if you make a really, really good hypothesis, then you're going to get a really good result from your A/B test. You want to get a yes or a no, not an inconclusive, right? I'll give you like an example. So this is an A/B test we ran at Travel Perk a few weeks ago. This slide here. So we wanted to improve the conversion on our demo request page. This was the control we had here, and this was our variant. And our hypothesis was, if we add social proof to our landing page, we're going to increase the conversion rate by about 10, 15, or 20%, because humans need references in order to make decisions. So what we did is we added this testimonial here and these logos. We ran it for 3 weeks, and we had a 23% uplift in conversion rate because we added these things, and we had a 90% confidence. So this was super successful. And as you can see, we added more than one thing. We didn't just change this section, we also added these logos. And in the end, we had a 23% increase. So it was really good. But this is also best practice, right? Using social proof and logos, they should be best practice you use in your marketing all the time, in your ads, in your, on your landing pages, etc., in your emails. Always use these different things. Program of choice is Google Optimize. It's free. It implements with Google Analytics. You can set up on your website with some development time. It's not too complicated, and it integrates with Google Analytics. So all of your goals in Google Analytics can be imported into Google Optimize, and you can run tests super easy. Another recommendation to get into this is to do the CXL mini degree in conversion optimization here. Like, it's a full course on how you can create hypotheses, you like people in psychology, messaging, again, like social proof here, like what I talked about before, like interactive design, Google Analytics. Like, A/B testing isn't like a simple thing. It requires lots of different skills involved. So I really recommend like doing this course really to get you into doing this, right? Next question was, how would you prioritize marketing spend during the next few months? So this is a tricky question because it depends on your industry, right? So before I dig into that, the first thing we need to take into account is the long term always is more important. Like, the best businesses out there, they're always investing in the long term, right? They're never thinking about the short term wins, like the growth hacks of now. They're thinking, how can we build up our machine, our system, so that we hit growth in the long term? That's always most important. But with this question, we're investing in our budgets now. I mean, the biggest question is, what's your industry? We know some industries are completely growing right now, and other industries are suffering right now. Like travel industries, like revenues down by 50, 60, 70%. So first, it depends on your industry. Obviously, if you're in an industry that's growing, then, you know, keep investing your money in marketing, right? For example, I have a startup where people are learning English, and more people are actually paying for the English course now because they have more time or they're at home and they're looking for things to do. So if I were running paid ads, I would keep investing money in these paid ads, right? But if you're in like a travel industry, then obviously you have to cut your budgets for now, keep doing things. You keep on doing things, but limit what you're doing. So if you're investing in like paid ads now, don't completely cut the paid ads, but limit it for now, and then and increase those budgets afterwards. But really the big question is, does your business actually have money? Because like I mentioned before, like businesses have cash flow, right? I mean, if you're investing in paid ads where you recuperate the money in the next year, then obviously you need enough money in your business to survive. So this is a tricky question, but I think it really depends on your industry. Like, if you're in an industry that's growing, then keep investing. If you're in an industry which is not growing and is suffering from this, then pull back for now and push back in the future. That's the best thing that I can recommend, but it really depends on your business. Every business is completely different. So like, this question is like super tricky. So this was an interesting question. It was, what metrics do you look at to increase your visitors from free trial to paid, right? So how can you do this? There's lots of things that you can do here. So the first thing that you really need to do is you need to follow cohorts, right? So you need to follow a cohort of signups in 1 week or 1 month, depending on how many signups you have, and measure over time how they convert into paid customers. You can't just divide numbers month on month. You have to really use cohorts. That's number one. Second metric you can look at is return rate. Like how many people return over time back to your product, right? Here I'm assuming that here we're talking about a SaaS product, a software company. You need to really look at your retention and cohorts, your retention curves. How many people actually come back over time and actually interact with your product? Not actually pay, but come back and use your product. Because the most important thing that you need to measure, which is usually your activation metric, is this wow moment. How can you get people to your wow moment the fastest? You know, I analyze different websites and sometimes like your tool is quite difficult to get to that one wow moment in the beginning because, for example, you're an analytics software and you need to insert the code on your website, wait a few weeks to get the data, and then see the wow moment is of these are my statistics. However, there's ways to get around this. For example, you can show dummy data in the beginning to showcase the value that people will get from their like analytics software if that's what they're doing. But really the most important thing is how can you get people to that wow moment? And if you don't know your wow moment, then you need to really think, how does my product deliver value? Because usually it's attached to value, right? And actually increasing the free to pay ratio is really interlinked with your pricing, because there's 3 main levers that you can pull to get people to pay for your products, okay? There's the seats. You can sell more seats to your product. There's features. You can have a basic plan, a pro plan, an enterprise plan. People pay for features, right? And also, people are paying for usage. So in the context of Typeform, for example, like a form company, then you're paying for the number of responses, right? So you can charge depending on these 3 different axes, and this is how you can actually get people to go from free to paid as well. So when they're hitting these paywalls or they're trying to get more value from your product, right? So the first one could be seats. If they want to add more people to their account, you say, hey, why don't you upgrade? If they want to use a specific feature, then you can actually get them to upgrade as well when they hit a paywall. So in Typeform, like we identified that a lot of people are using this feature for free. And what we did is we actually moved a free feature to become a paid feature, and that increased the conversion rate, right, as well. Identifying what do people really value in our product and what can you change from free to paid as well. Lastly, the other lever that you have to pull is actually the usage metric as well, which is the value people get from your product. If it's like an analytics software, it could be, for example, number of visitors on the website, or if it's like landing pages, number of views, number of landing pages you've made. You know, so you have to really think about what's my usage metric that people get value from, because the more value they get, the more they're going to pay, right, for your product. So I think when you're thinking about increasing conversion rate from free to paid, you have to really understand, how does this link to my pricing? How does this link to these 3 axes, seats, features, and usage? And how can you really prompt people to use your features? Like, how can you educate people that these features exist in your product? Inside the product is best. You can also do it through retargeting ads, through email marketing, etc. How it's best to do it directly in your product. And again, usage. How can you get people to upgrade through 3 axes? So this is what I really recommend you guys focus on, is how can you get people to increase the number of seats? How can you increase product usage? And how can you increase feature adoption? There's different techniques that you can do here. You don't just have to do email. You can do in-product things as well. These are the best things. Like, you try and use a feature, and then you get like a pop-up saying, hey, this feature is a premium feature. You can try it for free, but then you have to pay, for example. But when you're increasing this, especially for a SaaS company, think about these 3 axes and think about how this works together with your pricing strategy as well. It's all interlinked. It all works together. Nice. So here's another question I had, which was basically, when is the right time to go from organic to paid? Interesting question. And I would say, if you actually have money, if you have like investment in your software or in your product or in your business, then actually the best thing you can do is actually go from paid to organic. Why? Why would you do that? If I said above, like organic has its merits, why go from paid to organic? The trick here is a lot of the times you want to get quicker wins through paid to prove that you can get in customers, because you want to balance the short-term wins of paid ads with the long-term gains of organic, and do both in parallel if you can, or do one after the other if you're doing the layering technique. And what I'm trying to say here is that if you can bid on paid search first, you can uncover the keywords that are the most valuable for your business, that get the most signups, the most activations, the most customers, and then decide to implement an organic strategy afterwards, if that makes. So you're using paid search to do research to inform your SEO strategy. You're creating a feedback loop from paid to organic. So it's actually better to do paid search if you have the money, and then do organic afterwards. If you don't have the money, you have to do the reverse and focus on organic first. Build up the customers, build up the revenue, and then take that profit and invest it in organic afterwards. And there's other considerations to make as well. For example, if you're going to paid ads, what's my lifetime value? Can I even invest in paid ads? So this is a useful table I have on my blog, which is all around lifetime value and the channels you can actually invest in. So for example, here's an example for LinkedIn ads. So for LinkedIn ads, you really need a lifetime value of $5,000 to even make LinkedIn ads work in the first place, right? And if not, LinkedIn ads becomes a brand advertising channel for you. So I'm not going to go through this too much in depth, but check out my blog, inflectiongrowth.com. Click on learn, and you'll find this as one of these blog posts. And here I go through different paid ads tips and tricks and these kinds of things. And this table is super useful to understand, can I even invest in paid ads depending on the lifetime value that we have currently right now in my business. Another thing I added here was earned versus owned versus paid media, right? Because you have the decision that you can either make the content or you can just pay to be on the content. So for example, if you're HR software and you want to be present to HR people, you can either make your own employee onboarding guide, or you can just bid on ads that are present on other people's employees. Hey guys, so my Loom video was processing for 2 hours and then it lost this last part, so I'm recording it again. That's why you suddenly jumped into here. But let's go from this next question, which was from Scott, right? Which is all about the thoughts of the impact of browser tracking prevention with identifying on-site visitors and retargeting them. So I've got quite a strong opinion on this, and I think that we're actually pretty data obsessed as it is. Every single thing we do needs data. However, I think the future is pretty clear. Well, I can see the trends. So these are my thoughts, right? So attribution. So right now we're using attribution models. None of them are perfect. They kind of break. They never really tell the whole truth. We have first click, last click, W model, more complicated things. They're expensive, etc. And with all these changes, what I think the trend's going to be, what brands need to be doing, is simply asking their users, hey, where did you hear about us from? Because let me give you an example. At Typeform, 70% of new customers are from direct or branded organic or branded paid search channels. The attribution model would just say this, that's useless. So what you have to do is you have to layer on top a survey to basically ask people, hey, where did you hear about Typeform from? And people would say, hey, word of mouth from my friend, saw it at an event, I saw another Typeform, So I think attribution is not perfect, So this whole tracking prevention, it's going to hurt people who really rely on the data-driven approach. But at the end of the day, I think every brand on their sign-up process should have a survey embedded there or through an email saying, hey, where did you hear about X brand from? And you'll be surprised about what you learn when you ask those questions in that survey. And you'll find ways in which you can double down on different areas to drive growth in your business. Another thing is what I call the anti-form revolution, where more and more people, they're not going to fill out forms. I think less and less people will be filling out forms in the future because they have privacy concerns. They don't want to give their data away. They know that it's a lead gen tactic, So less and less people filling out forms, more and more brands giving things just away for free, like free tools, ebooks, giving them away for free, webinars for free. There's going to be the rise of brand marketing In the future, brands are going to be hiring a lot more brand marketers as key players in their marketing team. This is going to happen because right now, brand versus performance, I would say performance is more like 80% right now. Brand is 20%. In a few years, in 2 years, let's say, it's going to be closer to 50-50. There's going to be a big shift towards things that we can't measure as opposed to always doing things we can measure, because as the barriers to entry lower, because it's easier to create software products, it means the differentiation through features is going to decrease, and differentiation through brand is going to increase. So there's going to be a much bigger emphasis on brand. People aren't going to be filling out forms anymore. This whole concept of the anonymous buyer, the anti-form revolution, people don't want to be tracked. People want to go through, choose their own user journey as they please. This is big and this is going to happen. Brands are just going to ask people, hey, where did you hear about us from? So I think there's going to be this big shift where right now we're super data focused. However, there's going to be a shift where it's going to be more 50-50. We can't measure, and the other 50% we can measure. That's going to be the split in the marketing budget. That's going to happen. Last question is, what tools should we use to grow leads? So when I heard of this, I thought one great tool is to make your own tool, right? So let me give you this example of InVision. So very popular design software. They create this free plugin for people using Sketch and Photoshop called Craft. And they do lead gen here because this was made a few years ago, right? The form revolution's coming, but still you can get away with asking at least for email, but not like a huge form. Like I still think people give just their email, but like a huge form with like phone number of employees, blah, blah, blah. Big shift away from this. So they do lead gen with this. They don't just get loads of links back to this page because they're offering a free tool. They do lead gen, right? But they do it really cleverly, because if I click on here, Get Craft Now, on their thank you page, well, we get an automatic download here. You download the free plugin, but what they do is we don't stop the funnel here. They continue the funnel, right? They say, hey, why don't you create a free account on InVision? Okay. And if I don't create a free account, they now have my email, right? So now they can send me email nurturing, give me more value and content, and over time convince me to sign up and use InVision. So this is the funnel they're using, free tool, lead gen, generating leads, and it's really good. This is an amazing approach. And other free tools that I can recommend for more like B2B lead gen type of companies. One is Leadfeeder, where you can see the anonymous IPs on your website and see which companies there are, and your sales team, for example, can reach out to these websites. You can do ABM campaigns with LinkedIn. And linking to this, you can also use data from the product comparison websites, G2 and Capterra. And this is happening right now. If you Google like G2 intent data, LinkedIn integration, then you can actually see that companies are taking people who are in market to buy your product and retarget them on LinkedIn. And this has never been done before. Like, it's been super hard historically to like get in market people for your software unless it was on paid search. But there's lots of brands where they're using these comparison websites, and now we have the ability to retarget these people on LinkedIn. So this is super powerful, and I recommend all brands to start doing this, right? It does have a cost, obviously, but if you want to target in-market companies, then this is the way to go. So these are the tools. The first one is to create your own tool, and the last two are tools that you can use to generate leads for your business. So these are the questions I answered, guys. Thank you very much for submitting these questions on LinkedIn. I'm going to do this regularly. My goal is to do like an AMA like every other month, for example, and really deliver value back to you guys. Before I go, I wanted to tell you about a product I have on the same topic of funnels. So this is a product that I started basically like a year ago. And what I did is I realized that when you're working in SaaS or you're building a company, why guess and try and come up with a good funnel if you can steal all of the great parts from all of these top brands? Okay, so what I've literally done is I've done video recordings walking through the funnels of all of these brands like Squarespace, Buffer, Canva, MailChimp, Prezi, Proof, Adespresso, Mouseflow, these 8. and I've looked at the funnel to see what tactics they're using to get you to upgrade to a pro plan, a paid plan. And then what I do is I pay for that product, and then I try and cancel that subscription, and I see what tactics are they using to keep me there. What tactics are they using to try and reduce churn rate? Let me show you like an example. So what you get with these 8 different SaaS brands is you get 2 things. One thing is a video walkthrough that I recorded with commentary walking through all the different tactics. So here's an example of Canva, right? So I can show you from like an interesting point of view. So here we look at their SEO, like a really great photo editor that they made, their onboarding, the things they do to try and get you there, like the emails they're like sending you and when and what they say and why. And then I upgrade and I see what they do to try and keep you there. Okay, so this is like a video, and then I also recorded these, I call these swipe files, but basically what I've done is I have put all of the screenshots here in case you don't want to watch like a video version, and I've outlined the funnels. So this is the acquisition funnel from the moment you make a search in Google to the moment you get to the thank you screen of upgrading to the pro plan at Canva, and exactly what they do here. And then this is the unsubscribe one, you know. So for example, you confirm your cancellation. Let me see if I can show you here. So you click on unsubscribe, they say, hey, this is what you're gonna miss. Sorry to see you go. You take a survey, so they create a feedback loop. They actually ask you to follow them on Twitter, and then straight away they send you an email saying, hey, resubscribe and start using Canva again. This is why you should do it. You know, and I've done this for 8 SaaS companies, and right now I'm offering 50% off on my product called SaaS Funnels. So it's at saasfunnels.me, and the coupon code is 50 off. And this is literally, this expires like in 24 hours from right now. Like literally tomorrow or today, depending on when you're watching this video. It's a great product. You're gonna learn a lot from all of these different SaaS companies. I've given commentary, as you said. So check it out. I put on this discount because I really believe there's a ton of value here. Like, why make up things when you can just learn from the best, right? So this is my product. Check it out, guys. And thanks again for watching this video. And I hope you're well. I hope your family's well too, and speak soon.